it's Olivia, and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and if you have not seen last week's video, feel free to head on over to my channel to check it out.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Well, hello guys, and happy Halloween to all of my spooky, scary book lovers out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you today. Yes, this is my concluding video for the month of October. I just wanted to do something that was a little bit on the spookier side to celebrate the month of October.
Oh, I'm shaking in my custom baby seal leather boots.
And so today's video is a video concept that I made up called Trick or Treat Book Edition.
Sounds creepy. Let's go!
So you're probably wondering, what the fetch is that?
Tell me more, tell me more. So this is like a little like game slash like review, like a like kind of review thing for you, for books that like are books tricks or are they treats? Based on like lots of things, like if it's like the inside of like the cover is like really, really pretty, but the inside like sucks. Or if like it's the opposite where like the cover like sucks, but the inside's really good. Or like crazy cliffhanger endings that like totally tricked you up and you just like weren't expecting it at all. Or things like that.
That makes like 0 sense. You make 0 sense!
But seriously guys, if that like nonsense description that I just gave like made 0 sense, just like keep following along, you'll catch up eventually. Don't worry, it'll all make sense eventually.
So I will say previously, quick disclaimer, there will be spoilers in this video. So if you do not want to be spoiled by anything, just keep a lookout for the disclaimers that I'll
give you along the way.
If you're going to skip the timestamps. For the most part, I'm going to try to not spoil anything.
You're a terrible liar.
So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and let's just get started.
So let's do this thing!
The first book we're going to be starting off with, Is It a Trick or Is It a Treat? Is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. Now, if you guys have watched my previous videos, you know that I really like this book. Is it a trick or is it a treat? Let's find out.
I'm intrigued. So The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni is about a young girl named Kiva who ends up getting captured when she's very young and getting forced to go to Zalendov prison, and basically she's forced to live there and eventually becomes the prison healer. And one day while she's there in the prison, after many years of being there, a young prisoner comes in needing to be healed. His name is Jaren. They start forming an attachment. But really what's more important than that is the rebel queen of the rebel like alliance that's happening outside of this like in this world out there ends up getting thrown in prison, and Kiva decides to take the rebel queen's place in a series of trials to set them both free. So for me, this book was one big treat, okay? I enjoyed every second of this book. I thought it was well written. I thought it was well paced. I thought the characters were really fun to listen to and to watch and to like experience what they were going through. I enjoyed Kiva's character.
But the whole time, there's like something hanging over our heads. There's something being hung over our heads.
Like something is brewing, about to begin.
And at the end of this book, that one little thing is revealed. And it's like...
It's like the biggest trick ever. Like literally it tripped me up so bad. Like I wasn't expecting it. Like I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like
the shark chases. Yeah. And we tried it, but we couldn't. And we whoa.
Like the whole book there was something that was slightly off and slightly weird, and you were like, what's going on? And then finally, at the very last second of the book, it's all revealed. And you're just like,
Oh my gosh, it all makes sense!
Eureka! So, in my personal opinion, this book is one giant treat. But if you're expecting, if you want to read a book that has great characters, that's super fast-paced and a really interesting story, and one big trick at the very, very end, this is a book for you. Next, we have Kerri Maniscalco's Kingdom of the Cursed. Now, I'm giving you guys like kind of a pre-review before I give like you guys like my October wrap-up. And so this is going to be, I'm not going to try to like say all the review things that I want to say about this book in this little like thing that we're doing, but I need to talk about this book because I just finished it. Now,
Trick or treat?
if I'm being honest, I expected one giant trick from this book. After the first one, I was like, this book's going to be a joke, okay? This book is going to be like, this book is just going to be one giant, like, trick.
If I'm being honest, it was a treat to read.
This is a surprise, Clark. This is just a real nice surprise.
Like, the writing was so much better than it was in the first book. Already, the character development 1,000,000 times more advanced than it was in the first one. I finally feel like I have a grasp on Amelia's personality. We're learning so many things about her and about Wrath and about, like, the world that they're in. Like, this like, dark kingdom of hell that she's in.
Well. It's a small underworld after all, huh?
And I just feel like in the first book, we didn't get a good sense of like who people were and what their motives were. I feel like in this book, I know exactly what people are fighting for and what their motives are. Now, I will say, this book is a giant treat.
But also it's literally one giant trick.
It doesn't make any sense, sir.
This, like, it literally is.
And now, spoiler alert for my people who haven't read this one yet. For those who have read it, please come closer, come closer, come closer. The last chapter of the book was literally the biggest joke of my entire life.
And I'm just going to start off by saying, like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, like, I honestly feel bad for you. Like,
are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, we waited the entire book for this to happen, and then we get
cock blocked right there at the end. Are you literally kidding me? Unacceptable. Biggest trick of my life. What a freaking joke. I was literally just like, this has to be a joke. Like, this is a joke.
My life is nothing but a comedy.
But, okay, all my people who haven't read the book yet, come back. But I digress. There are many secrets being kept in this book. There's lots of like work at play and a lot of tricks to be had in this book. If I'm being honest, I left this book with more questions unanswered than I went in going in with questions. And so therefore, I think that this book is a treat. It's definitely a treat to read, and it's a treat that I thoroughly think you would enjoy. But also, the ending is one big trick. And the entire book has lots of tricks in between, so be careful while you're reading it, or you might get mad like I did. Next, we have Brigid Kemmer's Vow So Bold and Deadly.
And now when you look at the book, you're like, oh my gosh, it's part of the trilogy. It's the final book in the Kingdom of the Curse series. Like, I'm so excited. Like, this is going to be an awesome book. Like, the cover's beautiful. And, like, I loved how the first and second book went. Like, I loved the first one. It was great. The second one was even better. The third one's going to be even better than that.
And then it wasn't.
Disappointed!
I was very disappointed with this book. This book is one giant trick. It is not even a treat. It's not even a treat to read. It was a bore to read.
Sorry, that's a little bit intense.
Bruh, chill.
Basically, I just thought that, like, the writing was really repetitive.
It was basically like the two sides of these two people were being mirrored over one another. So, like, first we had the first side and they told it this way, and then we had the second side and they told it this way. But they were just, like, complete mirrors of one another. Like, literally, the scenes, like, were exactly the same. Like, we had, like, oh my gosh, like, sadness, conflict, resolution. And then on the opposite side of the kingdom, where they were telling the other half of the story, it was sadness, conflict, resolution.
they're the same picture.
And then also, to tie it all in a bow, the ending was so fetching confusing. And not only that, it was also just like so weird. Like, it was just a weird ending. It felt like the last like 30 pages were just kind of like thrown together at the last minute, and they're like, let's just see what happens. Like, let's just see. So, Trick or Treat for Vow So Bold and Deadly, one giant trick. The whole book is a giant trick. It might look like a treat on the outside, but the inside, one giant trick. Next, we have an author that you know and love, and I know and love, that I just
can't shut up about on my channel.
We have Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. Now, Trick or Treat, what do you guys think?
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
You guessed it. If you know me and you know how I feel about Sarah J. Maas, you know how I feel about the Throne of Glass series, you know that this book for me is one giant trick. Now, it's not for a trick for the reason you guys think, because I have given my full opinion of this book.
My full opinion is I actually think it's a really well-written book. I think that it's, like, awesome. It's amazing. I think that, like, the story in here is necessary for the Throne of Glass series. It's not ranked high at all on my ranking for Sarah J. Maas books, but it is a good book, and it was necessary for the series, okay?
Pause there. Now, the conclusion of Empire Storms, the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series. If you have read it, stay with me here. Spoiler alert for those who have not read it. Okay, stay with me for a second. Stay with me, okay?
Why did you do that? Why?
You jump high, jump right.
Empire Storms. We end off. Aelin is stripped bare in a coffin. Rowan is, like, at his, like, losing point. Aiden is going off with the army. Lysander's going with him, and he can't stand her. Lorcan and Iliad are going off with Rowan, and like Dorian's going off with Man. We're all utterly devastated. Like, I cried for hours, I tell you, when I finished Empire Storms.
And now I reckon I cry 4 times a week. I don't cry 4 times a week, but I cry a lot.
Like, I had to reread it and just keep sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. I mourned for days. And then when I was finally well enough to like pick up another book, pick up the next one, I was like, okay, I have to find out what happens next. She gave me this, Tower of Dawn, who's all about, you guessed it, my least favorite character on planet Earth, Chaol.
Chaol Westfall, who I can't stand.
And that was like the biggest trick for me. It was such a joke how much I was like so upset. Like I raged for days because I was like, no, like absolutely not. Like, no, you can't force me to read this. Like I will not, because I only care about Aelin and Rowan and like what happened in the last book. Like I need to know what happens next. But she did this to me, and I'm honestly kind of glad that she did this to me because this book actually turned out to be really sweet and really lovely. And so I'm very glad overall that I read it, but for me, this book was a giant trick. It was literally just one big joke like thrown in my face after receiving all the beautiful treats that were the Throne of Glass series. And last and certainly not least, we have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. And you're thinking, Olivia, you just talked about Sarah J. Maas. And I'm going to say, yes, I did. So I'm going to keep talking about her. I have a lot of feelings about this book, but most of them reside with the fact of this cover. Trick or Treat.
Quick little disclaimer, this is my opinion, and I am absolutely insane, and my opinion means nothing. Artists who work on book covers and artists who worked on this book cover, I respect you and I support you. I just don't think it was right for this book. I hope that I'm not offending any artists out there. If these are just my opinions, please don't take this personally. Thank you very much. Back to this.
I'm sorry, but this is one of like my least favorite art covers or book covers I've ever seen in my entire life.
He's so ugly!
I feel like this doesn't say anything about what happens inside this book because, as you guys know, the inside of this book is one giant treat. Oh my gosh, the whole book is just one giant treat. The cover makes me not want to read the book, okay? Like, the cover to me just doesn't scream like A Court of Thorns and Roses. It doesn't scream
fantasy adventure with the Fae that's going to be so beautiful and so hot and heavy that I want to read it.
Like, this cover doesn't scream that to me.
And like, not that I want it to scream hot and heavy, because don't get me wrong, this book gets hot and heavy. Like, I'm talking 5 chili peppers, people.
It's so damn hot.
Like, I don't want it to scream that, but I don't want it to look like this. I just feel like this cover is such a trick for all the goodness that's inside of here. So the outside cover, one giant trick, but the inside, what's in here, one giant treat. So that is all the tricks and treats that I have for you guys today. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Live in Literature YouTube channel. And do not forget, I will leave the links down below in my channel so you guys can pick out these books for yourselves and get them for yourself and add them to your shelf if you want to, if you'd like to check out any of these tricks or treats. But thank you guys for all your love and support during this month of October in this like spooky season. I hope that you enjoyed this spooky video, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!